Hi there, welcome to Switch Mania. I am Clarence and today we'll talk about the best Nintendo Switch games on sale. We will be covering the UK, EU, US, Australia, and Canada eShop. But first and foremost, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you want to see more of this series, please leave a like. Remember to subscribe to the channel and ring the bell to receive future notifications. Likes and subscriptions help keep the channel alive. First on our list is Leisure Suit Larry, Wet Dreams Don't Dry. The writing is still impressive because it is brilliant, insane, and without shame, but it can also be deep by having a satirical layer that shows sensitivity to some modern social issues without attempting to save anyone or set a moral example. Wet Dreams Don't Dry is a fantastic graphic adventure that stays true to Larry's usual spicy, fun, and funny style. Even if the controls aren't great and some of the situations are strange, you'll have a good time because of how it criticizes modern life and how funny it can be. Leisure Suit Larry, Wet Dreams Don't Dry, which has been available on PC since November 2018, is a welcome return to older games. Even though the point-and-click gameplay is unchanged, it remains enjoyable and tight. Next is SkateBIRD. SkateBIRD isn't for you if you thought the 1 out of 100 chance of tripping mechanic in Super Smash Bros. Brawl ruined the game. However, if you enjoy chaos and want to have a good time in a virtual skate park made of paper clips and duct tape, we're all the same and you should play this game. SkateBIRD is a skating game that is similar to some classics, but it has a twist that can make it enjoyable for people who are unfamiliar with skating or its athletes. A bird with a mohawk riding a skateboard is also adorable. SkateBIRD will make you want to love it, and it's difficult to be disappointed by it. All of the issues are preventing this game from progressing. It's not so much for the skating as it is for the bird. Glass Bottom Games created a cute independent skating game that appears to be in development, so it could be fixed. SkateBIRD appeal right now is determined by how much time you want to spend playing a skating game with birds. Next up, The House of the Dead Remake. The House of the Dead Remake is a remake of one of the most iconic and best rail shooters of all time. There isn't much in terms of core gameplay and story, but the touch-ups are all that was required for a perfect refresh. Also, the Euro controls, which are surprisingly good, are the best way to play. Get a Joy-Con and a willing partner in The House of the Dead and shoot your way through bullet hell. The House of the Dead Remake, which is currently only available on the Nintendo Switch, does an admirable job of staying as true to its roots as possible by retaining the same campy acting and fast-paced action. The team's controller disadvantage was unfortunate, but also expected given the circumstances. Even though fans will undoubtedly have different opinions about this game based solely on the frame rate and music, I found enough enjoyment in it to keep me satisfied and returning for more. Next is Woodle Tree 2 Deluxe, a lovely and relaxing open-world platformer with adorable, colorful graphics and endearing characters. This game is far superior to the previous Woodle Tree Adventures title. It includes a multiplayer co-op system, new combat and movement skills that allow you to move faster through the world, and a co-op system where players can collaborate. I'd recommend it to anyone who enjoys old-school platform games like I do. Some of the moves and general platforming are difficult. You can use your leaf as a weapon, transport water, or fly for a short period of time. Like in Super Mario Odyssey or The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, you can warp to any checkpoint you've touched at any time. The game is among the best in its genre. It has a lovely setting, lovely colors and effects, is both challenging and relaxing, and has a vast world. The Switch version now includes improved effects and graphics. Next is Tools Up. Tools Up is a co-op game that transforms mundane tasks into a wild, fun, and friendship-testing adventure. It has the potential to become a Nintendo Switch library staple with a few bug fixes and updates. Tools Up doesn't make the most of its clever idea for a co-op game, but it's still enjoyable. I'll be there on the first day if a sequel takes this home renovation hook and runs with it. Tools Up is based on a very cute concept, and it works pretty well for the most part. However, the controls aren't as responsive or simple to use as you'd like, and you'll frequently trip and fall, sometimes literally. Furthermore, things that are close together can be confusing, and you will frequently pick up the wrong thing, wasting a lot of time. Still, if you're looking for an alternative to Overcooked, Tools Up provides enough reasons to give it a shot, even if it's not quite as good. Next up, Road to Guangdong. Road to Guangdong is an uneven game in the end, but its writing and art show how much it means to its creators. It does feel like a personal story, and I appreciate how honestly the game depicts the values and emotions associated with Chinese family reunions. I'm curious what more money could have done, such as giving Guma more dialogue or contextualizing the long stretches of driving, but what's here is already good, and I'm glad I got to spend time in this loving recreation of China in the 1990s. Road to Guangdong is a simple game, but it does the majority of what it's supposed to do well. It provides the player with a relaxing, thought-provoking experience in which they learn about the plot through text and make dialogue choices that advance the plot. The experience also includes a number of puzzles and actions that are natural to driving a car. Even though the game is good at making the player feel calm, the car parts can be difficult to handle due to how the controls work. This can make the game less enjoyable. Next is Red Wings, Aces of the Sky. Red Wings, Aces of the Sky is a difficult game to put down. It's an excellent example of how well a simple gameplay loop can be executed. It's a focused experience, which I like. Even though I had some color blindness issues, it didn't stop me from enjoying the game. The bombing missions are probably the weakest link because they try too hard to add variety. It sounds great when Red Wings accepts how simple it is. The local co-op is an excellent and unexpected addition, and good art design ensures that it retains its allure for a long time. Red Wings, Aces of the Sky is sure to become one of the best kept secrets of the Switch eShop. If you enjoy flying games, the dogfights in Red Wings, Aces of the Sky will keep you occupied for quite some time. Next is Fort Triumph. Fort Triumph may not be the genre's biggest success, but it has a lot of fun fights. Even though it does not define the genre, it is easy to become engrossed in the fights and discover that 2 hours have passed in a flash. The UI can be difficult to read at times, both when docked and when held in your hand, but that's about all I had to say about it. Fort Triumph is a lot of fun, especially at first. The battle system's rules are well thought out, the visuals are colorful and appealing, and the difficulty curve is nice. You'll enjoy it more in skirmish mode than in campaign mode, because the story, while well made, becomes a little tedious as it progresses. Those who enjoy turn-based tactics games will find plenty to eat here. Next up, A Juggler's Tale. A Juggler's Tale will take you no more than a few hours to complete. However, its length is a welcome change from the large open-world games that can tire us out just by looking at how long they take to play. Abby is a lot of fun to play as, and despite the fact that she doesn't talk and is occasionally teased by the narrator, her story is told through the way she survives and thrives in a world that wants to keep her tied down and grounded. The fact that you can feel the weight on her strings makes you care more about the main character and demonstrates her determination. Despite her small size and appearance, this puppet story will demonstrate that strength comes in all shapes and sizes, even in the form of a small marionette whose only real skill is juggling. Next is Tropico 6. Tropico 6's Switch port puts a full-sized city building and resource management sim in your palm, which is the only way I want to play this type of game anymore. When compared to games like Civ, the scope of this game and its emphasis on small changes to your nation are refreshing, and any sacrifices made to get it here were well worth it. Tropico May 6th takes some time to allow you to do exactly what you want, but you can be confident that you will know what to do and how to do it. Tropico 6 is one of my favorite city building games, and I'll never turn down the opportunity to play it on the go. Next is INVERSUS Deluxe. INVERSUS Deluxe is a solid purchase option for Nintendo Switch owners thanks to an intriguing concept that has been executed very successfully. The adaptable arenas produce exciting, action-packed matches that are difficult to put down at times. A surprisingly difficult difficulty level in the game's arcade mode may turn off some players, but it will most likely attract more, feeding their desire to compete for the highest score possible. INVERSUS Deluxe, which is best enjoyed with friends but is also a worthwhile experience to play alone, could easily become your next go-to-party game. INVERSUS Deluxe is a fantastic twin-stick shooter that takes advantage of the Switch's portability and detachable controllers. It's a nice, quick two-player game, and I can usually find someone online in under a minute. The concept is simple, but enticing. If there's a real issue, it's that some of the interchangeable color palettes aren't good for playing, and the amount of people online isn't overwhelming, but that hardly detracts from what could be the best money I've ever spent on a Switch game. Next is Conga Master Party. Conga Master Party is entertaining, but it's rather short if you play by yourself. Story mode doesn't take long to complete once you know what to do, and endless mode only goes so far. Multiplayer modes, on the other hand, can be enjoyable to play with friends. Unfortunately, it is only available in local multiplayer mode, with no online play or AI opponents to compete against. It's still enjoyable in either case, but even more so with friends. Playing Conga Master Party is a lot of fun. It's simple but challenging, making you want to keep playing. Conga Master Party is an excellent overall purchase. The Switch is an excellent platform for these less expensive indie games because they contain a surprising amount of content and are enjoyable to play. The story mode can take a few hours to complete and is best enjoyed in short bursts, but the multiplayer modes are what really bring the game to life. It's a fun game to play with your friends and put your bonds to the test. Next up, Cyber Protocol. Cyber Protocol is one of the few indie games that can get so much mileage out of such a simple concept, and it's a lot of fun. Even though the level layouts vary greatly, you can't help but feel like you're replaying the same level. There aren't many checkpoints in some of these levels, and it's easy to die, so it's not uncommon to have to repeat the same section several times before you get the timing and pattern right. However, that may be of interest to some, if not many. Pac-Man is one of the most addictive and popular games of all time, so even though Cyber Protocol isn't an exact copy, it's a good place to start if you're going to copy from anywhere. Next is the Eternal Castle, Remastered. The whole point of transgression is to shake you out of your complacency, which isn't always pleasant. Any transgressive artwork that offends people is an obvious example, as it has clearly made them uncomfortable. The Eternal Castle is never offensive, but it will make you feel uneasy. Instead of relying on something as mundane as causing offense, the developers have gone above and beyond to challenge the senses and everything we know about video games, right down to the notion that the value of a game can be found in completing it. I'll never finish the Eternal Castle, which I think is simply magical. I adore the fact that the game is completely content to do this to me. The Eternal Castle is a neo-retro work of art. Even if you only play the game from beginning to end once and never return to it, this minimalist post-apocalyptic epic will stay with you for years to come. If you already have Another World and Flashback in your Switch library and are looking for the genre's next true evolution, look no further. They don't make them like this any longer, and we were left wondering, why not? Next is Gunborg, Dark Matters. Gunborg, Dark Matters is an excellent twin-stick platformer with a variety of activities and fast-paced, twitchy action. Gunborg, Dark Matters is difficult but never unfair, brief but intense, and retro but well-made. It has the allure of a small indie film. The final balance sheet is only bad because it lacks content. Gunborg leaves the impression of being too short because it can only be played for 2 or 3 hours if you don't try for the highest score and because the narrator is shy. Gunborg, Dark Matters has a solid core gameplay loop, but it fails to distinguish itself in a crowded field. You can have a good time on this ship for a few hours, but before you know it, you'll be escaping with your belongings. Still, Gunborg is a fun adventure game that looks great, sounds great, and plays well. Gunborg, Dark Matters is a challenging game that pays homage to classic arcade games. It reminds you of games that ran out of coins and chips because the controls were difficult to understand and the enemies would hurt you if you made a mistake. This game is recommended for anyone who enjoys a good challenge. Next up, Strikey Sisters. Strikey Sisters feels like a game that should have been released years ago, both because of its unique mix of classic game types and because it appears to have been released at that time. You have to wonder why someone took so long to create a game like this. This combination is a lot of fun, but a few of the game mechanics could use some polishing and balancing. Still, it should be a lot of fun for anyone who enjoys clever gameplay or well-executed retro design ideas. I finished all of the levels in the main campaign in about 7 hours and had a great time doing it. Strikey Sisters is a clever and entertaining take on the breakout genre. All of the special items are entertaining to use, and they help you get rid of the last few annoying blocks at the end of the level. You should devote your attention to this game. Next is Leisure Suit Larry, Wet Dreams Dry Twice. I've been a part of the Larry franchise since its inception. I got into the series a few games in on my old PC and then went back to play the first ones, despite not having played the first one. All of this was pushing the boundaries of how much innuendo and suggestive imagery you could get away with at the time, but it was often very clever. I tried to reboot the character a few times in the last 10 years or so, and some of the more crude attempts had done nothing to change my mind. With Wet Dreams Dry Twice, however, I believe they've come close to finding a way to honor the original title's humor and odd creativity while also being more aware of how much has changed since those early days. Obviously, not everyone will enjoy this title, and there is some humor that some may find offensive. Still, this attempt has enough heart and sincerity that I'm glad to say Larry's return to form was refreshing, even if it made me cringe in places. Next is Urban Flow. Urban Flow accomplishes its goal of being a highly addictive casual game. I'm still not sure if I haven't played something similar before, but if I have, it was probably not nearly as good at traffic management as this game is. Urban Flow is the best kind of puzzle game. It's simple to learn but difficult to master, and it was designed to work well on the hardware it's based on. It's not perfect, but it has so much to offer and is so well done in some places that it's easy to overlook its flaws. It's a fantastic addition to the Switch library and exemplifies why this console is so good at what it does. The word of the day is absorbing. The game's title, Urban Flow, is not deceptive. The gameplay is as smooth as the graphics, and once you've got everything in place, you shouldn't have any trouble figuring it out. Accessibility has been skillfully added to this fairly difficult and complicated task. We believe you will never think of your own trips into the city center the same way again. After all, Urban Flow will teach you how to direct traffic like a pro in no time. And last, but not the least, far, Lone Sails. Without saying a single word, Lone Sails tells a moving story of hope and perseverance. This is accomplished by balancing style and substance in such a way that the experience feels as good as it looks. You could complain about the short length of the experience, the occasionally perplexing puzzles, and the minor control issues, but once you get into the journey, these issues fade away. We strongly believe you should give it a shot. Far, Lone Sails is a lovely little game with a fantastic soundtrack and a journey that includes both stressful and relaxing moments. Far, Lone Sails is one of those rare games that can accomplish a lot in a short period of time. It's short enough that you could finish it in 1 or 2 sittings, and it has just enough depth to keep you interested without being too dense. It provided me with a pleasant journey to the end of the world, which made me smile and gave me a warm feeling in my heart. Lone Sails looks and sounds similar to Journey and Limbo, so it's simple to get into on Switch. A depressing journey through a world without people following the end of the world. That's all guys. I hope this video was helpful in deciding which game to play, and thank you for checking out the list. Please remember to subscribe and we'll see you at the next one.